All right. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Third Banner Pod. I have with me today, I have Ross, I have Connor. We have a lot to talk about, gentlemen. How are you all?
Doing great. Doing great.
It's
Good.
Wednesday. We're on the back half of the week.
Yeah,
That's
baby.
right. That's right. Well, one thing that never ends is recruiting. So there is no end of the week for them. And I know there's been a lot of basketball recruiting news, and I have mixed feelings about all of it because as soon as I start to feel like we're not in on anybody, all of a sudden a name comes out of left field, and it's a big name, but then you don't know how serious it is or how serious it or how not so serious it is, depending on who it is and the situation. I know the staff likes to keep a tight lip about who they're recruiting, and so we have to get what little breadcrumbs we can. But we've all heard the most recent name I think that everyone's hearing is Mackenzie Mgbako. I think I'm saying that right.
Okay.
Somebody correct me if I'm wrong.
Mgbako, I don't know.
I thought it was
Mgbako.
Mgbako, maybe.
Mbako. Yeah, you're right. Mgbako. Mackenzie Mgbako out of Duke is a guy that Nolan Smith has been in on for a long time now. And
Let's rephrase that. He's a high school kid that's getting out of his NLI to Duke.
right. So yeah, leaving Duke, but nonetheless, Nolan has been somebody that recruited him from the beginning, took this job. There were rumors last offseason that we were going to make a hard push for him in the 23 class. Nothing really came out of that. He committed to Duke not long after Kenny Payne took the job. And that was that. And I thought we would never hear his name again associated with Louisville, but there are a lot of preliminary reports. I know I get nervous when you're first. What I'm starting to learn, and I know it's not a portal player, but I feel like the first team that leads is very rarely the team that ends up landing them. So I hope that's not the case. He's technically not a portal player, so there's hope. The first, I call it the first curse. So the first team that's leading usually doesn't land them, but Arkansas probably has another 25, 30 scholarships left they can hand out. So, you always got to watch them. But Ross, what are you thinking, man? What do you think our chances are? And what do you think about the fit?
You kind of hit the nail on the head there. It does seem that you would rather be one of the people kind of almost pulling up the rear. You want to get that last visit, but at the same time, I feel like a lot of times with the portal, and again, this isn't a portal situation, but it is similar with it being so late in the process with a high school kid and asking out of their NLI deal. Their national letter intent. I'm sorry, NLI, NIL. So many
enough.
similar acronyms, but him asking out of his national letter intent. A lot of times when you see kids hit the portal, they have a destination already. They've already got a destination where they're going before they even put their name in the portal. It's what's best for them. So you kind of hope that this situation is like that. I really, really hope that it is like that. The kid is very talented. Got a lot of size. I like him as a 3. Lord knows we need about 3 more of those. So I like the kid a lot. I mean, he instantaneously makes your roster a lot better, at least from a talent level. So he seems to really be able to shoot it from beyond the arc. He seems to be able to score it at all 3 levels, and he looks like he's probably a pretty decent defender too. So, we definitely could use him.
Is this one comparable to Paolo Banchero?
I mean, I'm kind of, somebody else said it earlier. I'm kind of seeing more of a Cam Reddish there. He can shoot it. That I always thought that was Cam's best trait. Honestly, he was a great shooter for somebody 6'9", or however tall he was.
I don't remember. Was it Mgbako or Caleb Foster that came to that softball thing?
Caleb Foster.
Yeah.
Isn't there a rumor that he's trying to get out too?
Nah, that comes up about I feel like once every 4 months somebody brings him up and says, "What's going on with Caleb Foster?" I'm hearing rumblings, but last we heard from a recruiting guy that talks to us sometimes in the Discord, he doesn't sound like he is going to waver from Duke. So we need to probably put our eggs in the Mgbako basket. And yeah, I'd love to have Caleb Foster. That'd be great, but I don't think we're going to get that lucky.
Yeah, I
We'll
mean,
be lucky to get one of them.
never
Just get one of
say
them.
never.
I won't
Never
say never.
never.
I don't think we're going to get that. I don't know.
Yeah,
We'll see. But I'm kind of the same way. Duke can shoot. Mgbako can shoot the rock, man. Like,
yeah,
I'm not one of those that thinks he's a guard, and we're going to get into that. We're going to get into that conversation. But he would absolutely be a terrific ad. I feel like he's like a upgrade. He's the software update of Jalen Withers. Is what I think he is.
yeah.
Like Jalen, it's like the Wish version. He's like the Amazon Prime version of Jalen. Couch House, how you doing, buddy? Good to see you back. Haven't seen you in a while. Trevor, good to see you as always.
Oh,
Does
God.
anyone see Kevin Durant in? Okay, I'm gonna assume that's because we joke about it in the Discord all the time that everybody gets compared to Kevin Durant. So if it's not a joke, I apologize. But no, I don't see Kevin Durant. I would love to say I do. I've seen Kevin Durant a total of one time in my life, and it was Kevin Durant. The
Yeah.
closest thing to Kevin Durant would be a Tracy McGrady to me, but he's not as tall as Kevin Durant.
What about Trenton Flowers?
No, that one's out there a lot. No. And Trenton Flowers could be a very good player for us, but no. A lot of Kevin Durant's out there, and I'm not seeing it. A lot of people see Kevin Durant and everybody, and I see nobody except Kevin Durant and Kevin Durant.
Yeah. He's a Durantula for a reason.
Yeah, I'd love to. I mean, you land one of him, he can play. You talk about positionless basketball. Now that's a guy that he can play any position you want.
That's
So I guess that kind of gets me into that though. So obviously Mgbako would be huge. I look at him as a stretch four. I do not look at him as a guard. I've already seen that conversation starting, and I'm starting to think I'm crazy. And I kind of was dreading this podcast in a way because I feel like we're kind of, or at least I feel like I am on the outside looking in when it comes to this stuff. I saw, I think it was Rashawn Myers, and I don't always agree with what he writes, but he said something about this is our roster next year. And it was one guard and about 7 or 8 forwards and 2 centers. And I looked at the comments to see what people thought about him putting that, and everybody was just slamming the guy. It was like, hey, positionless basketball. Don't you understand? Like Trenton Flowers is a guard. And they were naming Mike James is a guard. Like these guys are
one
guards.
that said Mike James is the one.
Yeah, somebody said Mike James should be playing a point guard. I saw that. And they were like, if he wants, and they even said, if he wants to make the NBA, he needs to play the point guard. I'm like, he's not going to make the G League playing point guard. And that doesn't mean Mike James isn't a great player. He's a three to me.
Yeah,
and that's my question.
That's a very unfair I don't even know what to call that. It's a hurdle, or I mean, it's an unfair expectation. It's not his game. It's not his skill set.
No, and that's what I'm going to ask you guys. Am I crazy? Because I mean, Rashawn got killed for saying that. Like everybody was like, you're just negative. You don't want Louisville basketball to succeed. And I'm like, do they not remember last year? I'm not trying to be negative, but I can't lie either. Like, I don't think we have enough guards.
So
I don't. I think we have one guard on the roster, and I'm not one that thinks you have to necessarily go like by the book and have exactly this amount of guards, exactly this amount of power forwards, small forwards. And there is a little bit of interchangeable ability, but I don't think Trenton Flowers is a guard at all based on everything I've seen. I've watched a lot of film on him. He has a very high dribble, does not have a quick first step. And that's okay because he has things he can do. as a small forward that a lot of people cannot do. And that's, I guess, where I'm kind of frustrated, because I'm looking at the talent we're bringing in and I'm like, man, these guys in the right position that utilizes their skill sets, I think they would be great. But I'm afraid, and I'm just getting kind of nervous because we're getting down to the home stretch again. I'm afraid we're going to end up with Sky Clark as a guard, and then we're going to try to convince the fan base, the skeptical ones of us, that these other guys can play guard and they're going to be great. And to me, that's going to take a lot of learning, a lot of development. I don't see it. I'm not seeing it. And I think that's a disservice to some of these guys. Like Trenton Flowers, I think it's an absolute disservice for him to be a guard out there trying to create off the dribble, penetrating the lane from top of the key, or bringing the ball up the court, initiating the offense, creating for others. I'm not saying he can't do that in small spurts, but to rely on that. And then Mike James, we saw how much of a liability, especially on defense. And that's something these people don't talk about either. When I think of these guards playing out position, I'm not just talking about offense. And we saw the abysmal assist to turnover ratio last year. We had problems down low. I know the big men were a problem too. We had problems all across the board. But I think it started with not having enough ball handlers. I think that was a big thing. But then when I looked at the defense, it was just out of control how many times people just blew past our guys because they couldn't keep up. And I don't know if you guys saw that, if you guys agree or not.
And if Mike James is at the 1, that's going to happen every possession.
Every time.
But I pulled up Rashawn's tweet. It's point guard, small forward, small forward, small forward, small forward, power forward, power forward, power forward, power forward, center. Currently recruiting, power forward, power forward.
Yeah, look at the responses. He's getting absolutely – I mean, there's not a single person that's like, yeah, man, I'm with you. It's a bunch of people saying he's crazy.
The second response is those JUCO YouTube games of Coron Davis, he's playing point guard. If Mike James wants a shot at the NBA, he has to play the point guard. He has NBA size for that position.
No, he has shooting guard size.
You're telling me Steph Curry's going to play the 2?
Yeah. I mean, I think he could play. To me, positionless basketball. To me, I don't know. There's a lot more people that know basketball better than I do. But like positionless basketball to me means where you have guys that can kind of almost really vary in between two positions, not like 1 through 4. They can do it really, really well, like a 2/3 or a 3/4. They've got certain skill sets that allow them to be able to do both to create mismatches.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that Mike James guarding somebody, Kenny likes to play a lot of man. Like Mike James is going to have a hard time keeping the other team's number 1 point guard in front of him.
Let's use this example right here. If L. Ellis transfers to NC State and we're playing L. Ellis and Mike James is at the 1, out of 10 possessions, how many times is Mike James staying in front of L. Ellis?
I think he could do it probably 25% of the time, but of that 25% of the time, he's probably going to get called for a foul half of those. You know what I mean? It's like, so the success of that matchup is not going to be great. And, what we see a lot today in basketball too, is a lot of switching off of screens. And you see coaches run sets for their lead guards and try to draw out a big man out there. And that's what we're going to have apparently a ton of. We're going to have a ton of 4s and 5s. And coaches are going to pick up on that extremely fast. They're going to use your size against you,
Mm-hmm.
and they're going to run. Probably you end up with a lot of possessions where the other team is late in the shot clock, and they're going to get one-on-one possessions, and they're going to end up. They're going to either get a good basket from a kick out after the guard breaks down the big man off the dribble, or they're going to get fouled and get to the line, and it's going to be frustrating. I mean, this isn't rocket science. I mean, you need you need more than one or two guards on a team. I agree that there can be something called positionless basketball, okay? But you have to have, we've talked about it on this pod before, you have to have guys that fill niches, and that talent has to be able to work together. So what you're really talking about is roster balance and roster management. And to me, I'm happy as hell about the talent upgrade. I mean, there's nothing to complain about there. Like the talent is definitely being upgraded on this roster, but it's a lot of the same types of talent, and some of the talent might be better than some of the others. You know, it's like I just don't know. You're going to end up with a lot of guys that could be serviceable as role players that aren't even going to get to play at all because they're going to get absolutely buried, and then your roster's still unbalanced. You know, it's just like it doesn't make, to me, it doesn't make a lot of sense. So
our backup point guard's a walk-on Hershey Miller.
Well, the argument, I'm going to argue for the other side. The argument is these guys can all play guard. Like, let's see. Mike James can play guard. Trenton Flowers can play guard. Curtis Williams, I've seen that he can play guard.
Caleb Glenn can play guard.
Coron Davis can play guard. That's the argument, is that like all – and I've seen some people go as far as saying, you know, what's a guard really do besides bring the ball up? And
facilitate.
I don't know. That's what I'm trying to see. Am I just losing my mind? Because a lot of people, especially on social media, I mean, a lot of people, if you say, hey, I'd like to see a couple more natural guards, at least one more, like they freak out. Like, what do you mean? We have those already. And I guess the way I look at the class right now, as it's currently constructed, the talent is astronomical. Kenny Payne gets credit for even landing a high school class like this after a disastrous season. I mean, that's impressive.
Yeah.
But you still have to land guys that can complement each other. And that's the thing. Like, I could land, for example, and this would be completely ridiculous, but I could land 14 players that are all 5-stars and they're all centers. Now, there's probably not 14 5-star centers, but let's say I go in a portal and I land all these stud centers from other places, and now I've got a bunch of centers on the team. That's a very extreme example, but my point is they do not complement each other. And so, is it that bad? No. But my point is, you can't just say, look at the talent and say the talent's great. It all just works itself out. And my fear is that the people saying that are saying that because we're not going to get any more guards. And that's their next rationalization. Like, hey, we can use these guys. Well, we tried that last year. Were the players as talented? They were not. But I mean, the assist to turnover ratio was awful, and they couldn't keep up on defense. And we'll just get a slightly better version of that with upgraded talent that's also young. So I don't know, guys. I don't know. I'm not in on the whole we don't need any more guards argument.
And I'll say two things. One, that's absolutely correct. That's the exact straw that a lot of us that had hope last year went to after we missed out on all the guard prospects that they were targeting. It's like, okay, well, you know, it's going to work itself out. And as things go on, they're going to adjust into these roles, and they're going to be able to do it. They couldn't do it. Mm-hmm. Secondly, I will say this. If landing a guard is not all that important and it's all about positionless basketball, then why are we coveting guys like Tyler Perry? Why are we coveting guys like Caleb Love or what was his name?
Minifield.
Minifield, or why are we coveting, who was the kid that went to Michigan that was rumored to be going to IU?
Caleb
Love, or this Caleb Foster kid. Like, why are we coveting those players then? Why was it such a big deal to get Sky Clark if it's all about positionless basketball? Okay, right. It doesn't work that way. It doesn't make sense, and people should be. It's okay to be excited about the talent upgrade, but it's also okay to be critical and be worrisome about the roster balance and the roster management as it's looking. Like, you know, we still have some time. It's not May yet, but
I want to piggyback off that. because you made a good point. And that's what I noticed on social media. Okay, so listen, if you're watching this and you've been in these debates about the guards and the not guards and all the typical Kenny Payne, is it going to work? Is it not? You are not always all positive or all negative if you disagree. You can think that Kenny Payne is doing a good job upgrading the talent and give him credit for that and think that we are in a better situation overall. But you can also think that the roster as it's constructed, and if that continues to be the way that we construct the roster, is not enough based on how it's constructed, based on how the pieces fit together. You can have both of those thoughts. One of them is a more positive thought of, hey, good job. Kudos to you. You're landing dudes after a terrible season. But then you can also have the thought that, hey, we need more complementary pieces that can handle the ball, create for others, positive assist to turnover ratio. Like, you can have both of those thoughts. You don't have to think either everybody can be a guard and you're positive, or you just complain all the time because you want a guard, so you're negative. Like, that is not it.
Or
let's expand our minds a little bit and realize that two things can be true at the same time.
Yeah,
or
there
you can be happy with the top 5 recruiting class, and you can also still be frustrated that he went 4-28. Those two are not mutually exclusive. Like,
right.
Tron, you gotta let it go, man.
Oh my God, no.
Tron is on the Keyshawn Hall fan club. He's a stan. He is standing Keyshawn, and he's doing it to troll us because he's another one that was like a guy everybody was claiming was going to be a guard, but he was really to me a stretch four who had good ball handling skills for a forward.
Yeah.
Hey Dalton, how's it going? Good to see you in here. D Pence. Hall ain't in. Well, Hall's not coming here anyway, so you guys don't have to worry. Tron's just trolling. His name's Tron the Legacy. I call him Tron the Troll.
we saw this. This is the same thing that we saw with Bobby 2.0. We're like, hell yeah, we got another really talented, receiver. But where the hell is the meat? Where's the O lineman at? Or
good
like
comparison.
Or like very similar. Or how about Satterfield? It's like, okay, awesome. Like, we got another dude, but where the hell are our quarterbacks at? Where's the quarterback? Like,
it's a complete like you got, and it's not that you have to get a perfect. Like, it's not like, well, if you don't get 4 guards, you're going to be terrible. But I mean, my God, if you don't get more than 1, like we had last year, and could very well have this year, it's like, yeah, okay, we've got a lot of nice pieces. It's equivalent in football of if you had a bunch of great receivers and a terrible quarterback that couldn't pass them the ball. That's almost what it reminds me of. It's not quite, it's an apples and oranges comparison, but you get what I'm saying. It's like in all sports, in all types of sports, you have to work together and you have to have compatible pieces, and you all have roles you're good at. And what I don't want to see are guys that are working on things they are not naturally good at, while neglecting things they are naturally good at. Because I believe Mike James is a good example of a guy who, if he was used as a 3, would have been a lot better for us. That's just my opinion. Maybe I'm wrong, and maybe he is a better 2, but I feel like he was playing out of position. I also feel like Jalen Withers was kind of playing more of a ball handling role at the 3, and it was a disaster. And I think he's a stretch 4, and I think he can be a really good stretch 4. And I'm really interested to see what North Carolina does with him after he drops 50 against us, because that's our karma. But I'm not interested in that. But otherwise, I'm very interested in what he
hopefully
does.
They have him dribbling tennis balls, because that guy couldn't dribble, couldn't have it in possession without dribbling off his leg.
And catching eggs to keep his hands soft.
And if a guy can dominate down low, do you really want him just floating around, like dribbling behind the back, acting like he's a Harlem Globetrotter out in the top of the key? Or do you want him down there banging? I mean, come on. And I mean, we have guys, I'll give you an example, like Mgbako, if we are able to land him, which I don't know, it's like, we're in a lead at first, but you know how that goes. We got to close on this, and there's going to be a lot of suitors. So a guy like Mgbako, he can shoot the ball. He can be a hell of a stretch forward. And I'm thinking you get him a couple of guards that can create off the dribble, and he is a huge weapon. But if he's out there, the one creating the offense, or if the guys that are out there are guards that aren't really natural guards and don't have that skill set, they're probably not going to use him in the best way. And so that's what I mean. I would like to see us get another guard, and I'm getting nervous because Tyler Perry, now the tweet was since deleted, but I think Tipton deleted it out. A bunch of teams that he's really interested in. He's got a couple of visits lined up. He turned around and immediately deleted that tweet. So maybe there's more, and maybe we're not out all the way yet, but it doesn't look good on Tyler Perry. So I'm trying to figure out where we're going to go next,
Wasn't one of his visits to Arkansas like they have any more scholarships and or playing time?
I'm so sick of Arkansas, man.
Yeah, the two that got leaked today were Arkansas and Alabama, I think it was. So one of our guys in Discord today said that it does look like the steam starting to pick up, that he might follow his coach to Texas Tech, and he might just be doing his due diligence and taking visits, so you got to expect that too. My big worry with the roster we're assembling right now, with a lack of ball handlers, is you're going to end up with a lot of guys that are on the floor at the same time, where the ball's going to be standing still and you're not going to be making the defense move. It's going to be a lot of one-on-one stuff, because you've got a bunch of bigger players. And I'm not saying that they're not mobile and can't break guys down, but like there's things that smaller, quicker, shiftier guards in particular with a skill set like that, the whole point of a lot of them is to get defense moving and to keep the ball moving and keep, so the defense is constantly shifting, which is creating open spots on the floor for other players to take advantage of that. I don't see that happening with the roster assembly right now, but who knows? We'll see.
We're gonna get Churchill Abass, who's gonna end up playing the one.
That's a good transition, Connor. We're going to talk about Churchill Abass, but first, I do want to look over these comments. I don't want anybody to feel left out. UVL248 says, "Got to have creators and shooters the defense has to respect, or everybody will be taking tough shots." We saw a lot of that this past year. Absolutely, and I think that's what I'm thinking. And social media has me questioning, like, am I? Like, they're like, "You're negative if you think that way." Like, that's what a lot of people say. And I'm just like, I'm with you. Not only that, but we got burned so much on defense because actual natural guards would just blow right past our guys. They couldn't keep up. Tron says he sees some Kawhi in Mgbako, his calm and under control demeanor. Well, that would be great. I would love to take somebody with even a semblance of Kawhi. The thing that makes Kawhi unique. The thing that makes Kawhi, no, but the thing that makes Kawhi unique to me is that he has a long arm span, and like, you remember those Pizza Hut sticky hands you used to be able to get out of quarter machine? Those big old huge hands, you throw them, and they're like made out of rubber, and you fling them around. That's Kawhi Leonard, man. So I don't know. I don't know if Mgbako has those kind of sticky hands or not, but
aren't his hands bigger than Shaq's? Haven't him and Shaq? But
Kawhi's hands are like Jordan's were. Like MJ had huge hands too, like that.
Yeah.
Speaking of Jordan, what about JUCO Jordan?
Ooh, let's touch on JUCO Jordan.
That's what they're calling Koron Davis.
Yeah, maybe if y'all don't know,
JUCO Jordan. Come on, man.
That's Koron Davis, JUCO Jordan. All right,
come on, man.
Like, maybe the kid's good. I mean, I will say, just look, it's hard to find anything on the kid. His stat lines are pretty good. I don't know how well. I don't think that the JUCO ranks are quite what they used to be, in the early 2000s and the late 90s. You had a lot of talent in the JUCO ranks, back then. But I don't think it's quite like that now. But you know, I do like his stat line, and I do like his build. I mean, he has a nice build, you know. So I'd say if the kid has a really good work ethic, that's something only the coaching staff can really speak to. But I wish there was some sort of like a local recruiter guys or national guys that have seen this kid a lot that could really speak on his talent and his motor. I think if the kid's got a motor, he could actually be a good player. All joking aside, you know, but you know, if we're going to get a boss and we do get Mgbako, it's just would love to see another guard. I just don't know if that's Karan Davis.
Well,
like, I don't know if Karan's a guard.
Maybe we can go after Arterio Morris. There's rumors.
They don't even have to be a good guard at this point. Like, just a body that can dribble the ball not off their leg.
Well, Arterio Morris out of Texas, he entered the portal. He does have some stuff going on, domestic assault charge that's pending. His court date got pushed back. It was a Class A misdemeanor. I've looked into that. I'll never condone domestic assault, so I'll let that process play out. From what I'm seeing, though, and from what fans for Texas are saying about him and everything, doesn't sound like it's like as extreme as it could be, but I will let that play out. Because you never know what's going to come out in court.
Maybe he's got the same
if everything's
as
good,
his coach.
If everything's good, there's some rumors that we may go after him. But I'm kind of the point. Yeah, I'd love to have him. I think he was the number 1 point guard in the 2022 class, number 18 or 19 player overall. Some rankings probably differ a little bit, but I think that was overall what I saw. And he'd be a great get. But again, I'm kind of getting to the point where we keep hearing about dudes. When are we going to get some visits in here? Kenny Payne has had 2 transfer portal visits in 2 off seasons, and he got them both, Sky Clark and Brandon Hatfield-Huntley. So he got them both. But when are we going to hear? Like, hey, we hear about these dudes. Like,
Musselman gets 2 visits a day.
Well, and I've never heard about Zoom meetings. Like sometimes people, like I go to these other message boards and it's like so-and-so has a Zoom meeting with this guy. And are we even doing that? I mean, I don't know, guys. And I feel optimistic to an extent when I start hearing these names that we're in on them, but then all of a sudden, just nothing. Like, when are we going to get some visits, man? Gotta get some visits.
When you're recruiting the portal and you have guys that are not familiar with your school, like, you got to get a visit. Like, you have to. Like, I mean, if you don't get a visit, I mean, your chances of getting a commitment are almost slim to none. Like, I mean, you know, the only reason we got Sky Clark is because we had recruited him last year. You know, he already knew everything he needed to know, you know. So, I mean, again, he visited, though. Like,
he visited.
Like,
we got to get some visits.
Yeah.
Speaking of visits, we had a Senegal visit recently, a grand safari for Sir Kenny Payne to see Churchill Abass, and I don't know. We haven't heard much out of that either. I'm hoping we can land Churchill again, though. You start hearing about Mgbako. It sounds like he wants both of them, so 2 more bigs
with no guards.
No
guards, but I mean, hey, those are 2 really good bigs.
Yeah, I will take them. Again, I'll take them. Like, you know, it might require other people to sit in the bench, but I don't even know how that would even shake out once if and when they are on the roster. But you know, again, I'll take I'll look at that afterwards. You know, but the elephant in the room, pun intended, Africa. Is that, you know, we gotta just keep saying it. Like,
he's here all day.
Get some ball handlers, better get some creators. Like, if you don't like the word guard, if the word guard is taboo, okay, we won't say guard. You better get some creators and you better get some ball handlers. Like,
some dream chasers that can dribble.
Does Churchill have a friend in Africa that wants to come and that also knows how to create and dribble a ball?
No, but it sounds like he's got another 7-foot big guy. That was a rumor I saw today. Like, hey, we're in on a 7-footer now. I'm like, okay, great.
Is that the other foreign land beast that he was talking about?
I don't know. But Churchill Abass would be, I mean, that's the mentality we need. We've talked about it on multiple podcasts now. A guy like that can really challenge everybody around him to be better. He brings a toughness we desperately need. I'd love to land Churchill Abass. But it's another one of those recruitments. He goes over there, and then you just hear nothing. And it's like, what's he? And then all of a sudden, what is he going to commit to Arkansas tomorrow? I just assume everybody's committing to Arkansas. Until told otherwise, you're going to Arkansas.
I would be lying if I said I am excited about the prospect of having like a Boss and Dennis Evans and those guys at the 5, and having somebody like Mgbako and Huntley Hatfield and who else am I forgetting? I don't know. I'm excited about having a lineup of Trenton Flowers, Mgbako, and a Boss or Dennis Evans out on the floor together. Like, those pieces, I think, really could complement each other well. But then you're still like, we just keep going back to it. It's impossible to avoid. Like, who plays the 1 and the 2? Sky Clark's going to play the 1, obviously, but who is going to play that 2 spot? I guess it would be Mike James. Mike James is going to play the 2. So I would say that if you got a starting lineup of Sky Clark, Mike James, Trenton Flowers, Mgbako, and a Boss, Dennis Evans, Huntley Hatfield, like that roster actually could gel well together. My question would be, how well can Mike James be relied upon to break down guys off of screens, get into the lane, and kick out for open jumpers? I think he showed at times last year that he was definitely capable of doing that late in the shot clock and getting to the free throw line at a decent clip as well. But if I had my choice, if I had my druthers, I'd rather have somebody like a Nick Timberlake or something. I mean,
well, that ship sailed. You can.
Well, I know that. I know it's gone, but I'm just saying that's the type of 2 guard you need. That's the one. That's it. So I don't know. I don't want to get too doom and gloom yet. It does. There are parallels to last off season though, for sure. But I do think that there's talent there, and a lot of the pieces will work together. The thing that's going to pull it all together though is going to have 2 more ball handlers on this team. I think you need 2 more. Like, you get 2 more. Like, I'm gonna sit here and clap all off season.
In Mgbako, there's a insider, as we call him on the message boards, that the people that break stuff, and he says he's talking to another insider, and one insider says it's not a done deal, but it needs to be done quickly in regards to Mgbako. And the other guy says, interesting, after checking in tonight, I was told this deal was done and has been done for some time, and this is not coming from anybody associated with the Louisville basketball staff. So that's always a key to say, like an excerpt, because last year when the staff first started, there was certain staff members that told it we were getting all these dudes and we didn't get any of them. So it's become like a thing, like, well, who'd you hear that from exactly? Because you would think a staff member might be a very credible source, but I think there was a bit of people not on the same page as far as where they really stood. So I don't know, but Mgbako, he's going to have the full court. See, that's my thing. I want to know that if we don't land Mgbako, it's because somebody else outworked us and we gave it everything we had to land him. I want the full court press on the guy from the start, because all these schools are reaching out, throwing them NIL packages together and saying, hey, this is what we can offer you. I'm hoping, because we anticipated this, Nolan Smith has been in on this guy. I'm hoping that we anticipated that. I'm hoping that we prepared for him to come back and say, hey, I'm hearing from these other schools, and this is what they're offering. Oh, I'm glad you mentioned that. That's what I want to say. I'm glad you mentioned that because here's what we're going to offer you, and I know they cannot. And I want to see us I don't want to see us like let up at all.
How do you like new Jeep Gladiators?
Oh, boy.
Yeah. And if you
You
don't
like
like
you
those,
like
how
an
about
all-
a private jet?
Do you like an all blacked out Jeep Gladiator? Because Cross Country Jeep here in Louisville's got some deals for you, buddy.
I'm starting to think Musselman offers private jets.
He's offering private something.
Oh boy, here we go. All right. Coach House, you guys know what positions or areas Manning and Jameson recruit?
No.
Well,
Do they recruit anything?
Danny Manning landed as Coron Davis.
He landed JUCO Jordan.
JUCO
baby.
Jordan. All right. Connor, can you name all 50 states without looking at your map?
I'm not Connor, but yes.
Yes.
I can't
100%.
I learned a song in alphabetical order.
50 nifty, baby.
Yes, yeah. 50
Yeah.
nifty. So speaking of nifty, I saw some football highlights today from one is it Katarius Hicks? Is that how you say it?
Arterio Morris?
Katarius Hicks. And I want to get into that because I'm telling you, football, I'm excited. And I see that Willie Tyler out of Rutgers, the offensive lineman, I just saw where he is officially confirmed he's visiting. I know we need some help on the O-line. Now, Willie Tyler's a frequent flyer. I think he's been to 4 schools since he's been in college. But we need all the help we can get there. But, man, did you guys see that Twitter feed or did y'all see it on social media with it wasn't Plummer. It was the trendy guy. I found that out because a family member actually responded to me on there and said it wasn't Plummer, but it was a great pass and an even better catch.
Can we pull up the video?
We can't because I don't know how to do that. I reached out to Ty, but he didn't see it, I guess, and of course,
is it on Instagram?
Ash ended up not being able to be on here.
It was on Twitter. It was on the Louisville football, the main Louisville football Twitter page.
I got you. Hold on.
Well, if we can't find it, long story short, it was a great throw, and he was covered very well by Brownlee, and he somehow kept his foot in bounds and caught it right in the corner. I don't think he made it quite to the end zone. I think it was like a half yard short, but it was just a beautiful play. And the cameraman, whoever that cameraman was the MVP of it all. Because he tweeted later. He tracked the entire play.
He tweeted later. He said that he got his exercise in today.
The cameraman.
Yeah. All right. Hold on.
He's a real MVP for that one. I mean, he kept up with that entire play. But
if you haven't seen it, we're gonna break it down. Okay. So you got Katarius Hicks on the outside.
Can y'all see it?
No, not yet.
Let me add it to the stream. Hold up.
All right, now. How do you? Yeah,
get
it all as one.
Overlays.
Yeah, you gotta get them off. And then Connor, I think you got to go full screen. Sorry, guys. You know we're still on the learning cusp of doing this. So give us a break here. We're gonna get it right.
All right, let me go to full screen.
There it is.
Okay, there we go. Okay, so before we push play. You got Katarius Hicks here on the outside. Brownlee's covering. He's going to looks like almost like a fade route, and Brownlee's going to have great coverage. Hicks is actually going to lose his footing. He's going to look down. The quarterback is a timing throw, so the quarterback's going to throw it. Katarius Hicks somehow is able to track this ball mid-flight. The ball's already left the quarterback's hands, and he's able to not only get a burst and create a little bit of separation from Brownlee after he regains his footing and then tracks the ball. But he also adjusts his body and then looks over his outside shoulder to catch this ball. I mean, it's an incredible catch. I mean, it's a dime by the quarterback too. I mean,
Nathan
it's well done.
McElroy is the quarterback.
Yeah, go ahead and push play.
Emily McElroy is the one that commented. That is, that's a dime.
Do it one more time. Watch after he loses his
took it
footing.
off.
After he loses his footing, watch this will show you what kind of speed this kid has. He is able in about a 2 yard spoon.
Yeah, that's separation.
That separation right there is something. Like that is the kid's fast. And if you saw any of his highlight videos when he committed and signed with U of L, I know a lot of people were, he's one of our lower ranked recruits, but the kid stood out on his tape for his speed.
Throw it out one more time, just for third time.
One more time.
I gotta see it one more time.
God.
Man, that's impressive.
That's sick, dude. It's such a good catch.
It is.
And
we're in spring ball, baby.
And what I love about it is that it's just little things, right? Like when you've got a real QB coach like Brohm and a real offensive, I would say Brohm is a very good offensive coordinator. I mean, I don't say that just biasly. He's our guy. I've always thought Brohm was a very good play caller. I've always thought he was that. I've always thought he was a good teacher. That is a sign of teaching already right there. Just in that drill alone, like that's improvement to me. I don't think we had a lot of quarterbacks that could have done that last year on the roster. And you've got a local walk-on Trinity kid. If he's not a walk-in, I apologize, man. But he's definitely not one of the 4 players that's being talked about regularly in that QB room right now. He would be 5th on that right now. So that's to me, that's pretty impressive. To me, there's a lot to say about that, just that little clip.
Yeah, well, Katarius Hicks, the weird thing about him is I remember on signing day, all of a sudden it was like, Katarius Hicks is not going to be coming here now. He's probably going, I believe it was UCF or a smaller a directional Florida school. And they were like, he's going to go there now. And it just sounded like we weren't interested anymore. And then all of a sudden you started hearing, well, Stanquan is probably going to go to Cincinnati or somewhere else. He's probably not going to sign. Then all of a sudden it's, Stanquan is going to sign, as is Katarius Hicks. I don't know if that was like a deal breaker. I'm not sure. And I don't know what the story is. So I don't want to, from the outside looking in, it looked like it could have been like, hey, if you don't sign him, I'm not coming. But maybe that wasn't it. But long story short, I'm just glad we got Katarius Hicks as well. It seems to me like he's going to be a burner. And somebody compared him. They said if he reaches his maximum potential, his ceiling. Now, let me be very clear. Ceiling, as in this is if everything works out perfectly.
The ceiling's
he's like a Harry Douglas. So people don't freak out and say I'm calling him the next Harry Douglas. But I like the comparison of if he is able to work on honing his route running ability, creating separation, using that speed, and if he has great hands, I see it. Not saying it will happen, but I see Harry Douglas. I saw that comp and I thought, man, that's a good, and the fact that he emphasized that would be the ceiling, I would agree, because Harry Douglas was a beast, especially
somebody else said Eli Rogers.
Yeah. I see, Eli was always a very good route runner. That's why Eli was so good, is that, he wasn't the fastest guy, but he knew how to his gait as far as getting in and out of routes was extremely quick. He had really good hips. He was able to get in and out of his routes very quickly and create separation, and he had good hands. If Hicks can do that, and then he's got, say, like Trent Guy speed, for another comparison, that could be something. So we're just going to have to see. I was one of the ones that on signing day, when it was looking like Hicks wasn't, like, last second was not going to be a part of the class, I was kind of starting to, I didn't like that. Like, I wanted him to be a part of this class because I was high on his speed. Like, I saw enough from him that I was like, this dude could be somebody for sure. I was always high on him. Me and my buddy Chris were always pretty high on him. there were a lot of changing parts. Obviously, the stuff with Reuben Owens and DeAndre Moore happening, like that may have freed up a scholarship, which allowed him to become part of the fold again there. And we were just getting, delayed information, so. Yeah. But I am glad that he's a part of this class. I think he's going to end up being a valuable piece here. So, we got the spring game, Friday, right?
Next Friday.
Chow says thoughts on the quarterback
next
room.
Friday.
It's scary.
Quarterback room is Jack Plummer, and if Jack Plummer gets hurt, then we are probably in trouble. I mean, that was a great throw by Nathan McElroy, and maybe he's a beast. Maybe that's a consistent thing, but I'm not going to take one throw and extrapolate it onto him being consistently able to do that. I have no idea. He was a walk-on, but he's a local guy, and Brohm is known to take walk-ons and make something out of them. But with that being said, I don't have enough of a sample size to know. I am just hoping that Jack Plummer stays healthy because I think it's a big risk if he doesn't. I think next year will be better, which goes to U of L 248's point. He says Brohm's gotten 2 quarterbacks commit in 5 months, so I guess this quarterback room is not as scary as it was in years past. We used to hear in this sad era that the quarterback room was just too much for other quarterbacks. They didn't feel like they could compete, and that was always bullshit, to be honest. So I'm just glad to see that we have an actual quarterback coach who knows what he's doing, who can actually get us quarterbacks. It's great.
I feel like we're forgetting a quarterback. I know there's Caleb Johnson, the backup, and we've got Evan Conley. Who's another guy? Isn't there somebody else?
There's offensive lineman, the way he's putting on the pounds, and that's Brock Doman.
Oh, Doman, yeah. Yeah, I was like, I knew
he's looking more like a right guard.
I knew there was somebody else. Honestly,
and Pierce.
I wouldn't put it past Brohm to have Conley out there in some gadget plays, because Conley does. I know you're squinting. Like I get it. Listen,
I can't even picture it, man. But hey,
listen.
He's got sneaky wheels.
I'm telling you, Brohm is a thinker, man. Okay, and the stuff we've been hearing from spring practice is that they've been doing a lot of really fun and interesting stuff in the screen game, in the misdirection, and
double flea flicker reverse.
I mean, that's probably not one you're going to dial up too often, okay? But I will say, if you could have somebody like Conley lined up, either split out in the back or just outside, and you could get him the ball and then have him do a little gadget pass from behind the line of scrimmage and have a couple of linemen kick out and, form a little bit of a blocking assignment there with a wide receiver. Like, you could run some gadget plays there. Like, that's all I'm going to say. Like,
well, I mean,
plus Conley can run a little bit. We know he can run.
If Kenny Payne can trot Dennis Evans out there as a point guard, then hey, why can't Jeff Brohm use Evan Conley in a trick play? I mean, positionless football, baby.
Look at me. I'm the point guard now.
Positionless football. We're going to have Evan Conley as a running back, and we're going to have Brian Hudson as wide receiver.
Brock Doman's playing center,
and then he's going to come in motion, and Brian Hudson's going to get a jet sweep.
Yes,
and he's going to house it. Positionless football.
No, so
you heard it. You heard it on the Third Banner pod first. Positionless football.
So I went to practice 2 weeks ago. Yeah, and I heard that Evan Conley's feeling better than he has in the past 3 years.
Yeah.
Because we thought that he was done with football last year. He's not. He is going through practice 100%. He's ready to go. So,
did you see Mark Ivy throwing shade? He threw a little shade. Let's talk about Mark Ivy throwing a little shade. Now, I don't think he intentionally meant to, but the question was kind of set up where if you're not really, being conscientious of what they're asking you, you can kind of slip. And they asked him, well, what do you notice? You were with Satterfield's staff for so long, and how are you feeling now being at Louisville? And he just flat out, he was like, well, I don't remember exactly what he said. I don't want to misquote him, but I know it came basically, long story short, it was, I had a good run with Satterfield, but the momentum here has never been this good, and the energy's not been this good.
He
And
said he said
it
he's
feels
known
different.
Sat since like 91 or
yeah,
93 or something. And, he said we did some really good things in that last staff tenure, but it's noticeably different when I'm walking my dog,
yeah,
when he's like the vibe around the town and around the locker room is just different.
And he said,
And
Jody, you see me walking my dog all the time. It feels different.
I want to know how Jody's living in the same neighborhood as Mark Ivy. That's what I want to know.
I don't know. It's all those $10 subs, man.
Paramount
I'm
Plus,
one of
baby.
Next time on Cast.
But yeah, I found it interesting. He said that the energy and the momentum haven't been this positive, and things haven't been this good
That he's ever seen it since
that
he's
he's
been
ever
here.
seen it. And so basically saying like, yeah, okay, their staff's gone. See ya. That's what I got out of it. But yeah, let's see.
I got out that he likes walking his dog.
Neil's in here. He says Conley would beat Lamar Jackson in a foot race, is what Ross is saying. Well, he'd probably beat him to sign a contract at this point. UFL 248. Definitely don't want Plummer to get hurt, but that is probably the deepest the position. This is probably the deepest the position has been in a while. Well, I mean, yeah, true. That's like saying, I don't know, a good
That's like saying
analogy,
our center position on basketball is deep.
That's like saying I have more money than I did when my bank account was in the red, and now I make a minimum wage, and I live with my mom.
I mean,
so
look,
I know
there's
a
huge,
yeah, it's better, but it's not where we need to be. But I think next year it will be.
I know that there is a huge separation from Plummer to everybody else. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All I'm saying is I do have some confidence with Brohm, taking Doman or taking Conley or taking Caleb Johnson
McElroy.
and or McElroy. And, I think that guy's probably fifth. But anyways, I have
totally
confidence.
Forgetting about Pierce.
I'm gonna pull a Tron and just say like McElroy's a beast, and I'm just gonna pump him up nonstop in the Discord.
Yeah, there you go. There's Pierce too. I'm with the tech. I'm with that listener right there. Like, I think the QB room is gonna be okay.
I think it will too.
Yeah, I mean, as long as Plummer doesn't suffer a season-ending injury. I think we have guys that could fill in for a few games and help. Plus the schedule, we've all talked about the schedule. The schedule lines up really well for us. Okay. So I just think I'm not really all that worried about the QB room. I don't know. Maybe that's just me. I could probably end up punching myself probably 7 months from now, but I'm just really not. Like I got confidence and Jeff, I've got confidence in Brian to get these guys ready if and when they get called into action. I just do.
Neil says basically it's nice being on a staff that isn't boring in this light. I've always felt like Scott Satterfield was a Cracker Barrel guy. Like I just feel like he's the type of dude that was his favorite restaurant. And he would go in there and he would go in there and get the chicken dumplings, and he'd be like, oh. I don't know. He's never. Not that there's anything wrong with Cracker Barrel, but can't you just picture that man in his visor, waiting like 25 minutes out there shopping for knickknacks for Beth?
Yeah.
Before he goes in there and eats chicken and dumplings.
Hey, look at this, Beth. This penguin, it craps eggs out of its rear end right here. Look at this. This is a good little Christmas toy. It's good stocking stuffer right here. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
We're just gonna love him up here, guys.
I saw something about Sat recently. Jim Rome. He went on Jim Rome. I just happened to be listening as I was driving.
God, why?
And he did the all shucks thing and all that. I was like, Satterfield's coming on here. What? I just happened to turn it on as I was going, and Jim Rome was basically pleading with Cincinnati fans to give him a chance. That's how bad it is. It's like, please just give him a chance. Like, there's no excitement around it.
I think he's, I'm just going to say it. I don't care. I thought he is and always was a phony. I thought it was
Yeah.
all just a show game. And I'm sorry, nobody's that clean and that nice and blah, 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 at that level of coaching. I'm sorry, I'm jaded. If you're successful and you can make it to that level and you've actually been able to parlay one D1 job into another one, all that persona is it's a publicist image PR thing. It's not real. I never believed it, and we saw it. We saw it in the end. It doesn't have anything to do with him taking another job. That's fine. I'm glad you did, but we saw different things after the fact of his true character coming through.
I bet Satterfield only tipped 15% minimum at Cracker Barrel.
I don't think I've ever been like, I guess that morning, because we were talking about it today, like that morning, I don't know if I was happy or if I was like in shock. Like
I was pumped.
Like,
yeah.
Well, okay.
I was pumped. I thought we were stuck with him.
Well, because I thought, he was going to transfer. After talking to Mom that morning, she was like, "Oh shit, what are we going to do?" Like, I'm like, I have no idea, but I would just chill for a minute and see what happens. And now he's happy. So let's just throw it and let's just say that.
Yeah.
That's good. Yeah. Yeah. So we've got these, like I said, we got the offensive lineman from Rutgers, Willie Tyler. He's supposed to be visiting soon. We did hear Beanie Bishop is at West Virginia. That's where he's committed to. We thought we were going to land him initially. He's a Louisville guy as far as being a local kid, but I guess they offered I saw $60,000 up front for NIL deal, and they told him
$60,000 up front. So
they told him he could play some offense. He could return some kicks. I mean, sounds like, and you're talking about Neil Brown. He's on his last leg over there. Of course he is. He has the UK stench all over him. You can't get rid of that. So he went to West Virginia, and he's not succeeded very much. So he's just throwing everything he can. I don't blame Beanie Bishop. Best of luck to you, but he would have been a great addition to the secondary. I still think we need one more now that Beanie's not coming. I think we need to find somebody else. I think we need 2 more linemen. And it sounds like Willie Tyler from Rutgers is visiting soon. And then I'm hoping we land another one. And I'm hoping we land another one. And then
do we know anything about the Texas A&M guy that put his name in the portal?
I've not heard us.
He's a center though. I don't think we need a center.
No, we don't.
Need a center.
Because we have 2. We got Hudson and we got Austin Collins.
And we've also got Sanker.
Yeah.
Sank Tank.
But
yeah, hey, so we got some young guys up and coming.
Yeah. I want to give a shout out to Sanker and
Luke Burgess, L&M Eats.
The left tackle. Well, I'm drawing a blank right now.
Luke Burgess,
yeah. For their L&M Eats. I think I enjoyed the pilot episode for those guys. If y'all haven't seen it, go check it out. I think it's great, man. I think it's awesome. I think they're so likable. I'm gonna enjoy that run. I mean, I think the 2 of them together are funny. I love seeing them indulge in all the foodiness that Louisville is, because we are a good foodie town, and food is something that makes me extremely happy. And I'm glad to see some other dudes that really appreciate food, So I think it's great. I think it's.
So Luke Madden, what he's trying to say is, if you need new spots, hit him up.
Yeah. I mean, I'll tell you where to go, man, because this don't happen on accident.
Yeah. Well, and so I think in the portal, a couple of linemen, and then a couple of linebackers. We need 2 linebackers bad. We desperately need a couple of linebackers. I think Stanquan Clark's going to be a beast in time. I think he's going to see the field early and be forced into that because of the lack of depth at that position right now. But he may struggle at first. I don't know. It sounds like AJ Vongfashon, the Utah State guy. I can still say his name. It's crazy. We thought we might be in on him. It sounds like he's narrowed his list of 4 schools. We are not on it. so he is not
Yeah.
an option. And I haven't heard anything about any other linebackers at this time. But the portal opens May 1st for football.
It
Or
opens
is it
Saturday.
April 15th, Connor?
Open Saturday.
Open Saturday. Okay, yeah. They changed it. April 15th. So it opens April 15th. And I'm
Thank you,
hoping that
Portal
we can,
God.
yeah. I'm hoping that we hit the ground running. And the good news about portal recruiting in football is I don't think we're going to hear all this ambiguity and, oh, we might be in on this guy. I think we may have reached out and, oh, he's going to commit tomorrow. And then it's 3 weeks from now. And then he commits to Marshall or some other school out of left field. So I don't think you're going to hear as much of that with football. I think we're going to have a clearer picture. I mean, there's people that change their minds. Beanie Bishop is a good example, but I'm excited about portal recruiting in football. I'd like to be excited about it in basketball. It's just it drives me crazy in basketball. But
Well, you know what the difference is, right? We talked about it earlier. The football,
transparency.
well, that's part of it. That's more about pleasing the fans, I guess. But in like meeting your fans' expectations. The bigger difference is that the football staff gets visits. The basketball staff has a hard time seeming to get a visit. So, again, if you can get a visit, that's a big, big deal.
That's it. Get visits.
Yeah.
Think about it. The visits that we've gotten for basketball: Sky Clark, JUCO Jordan, Brandon Huntley Hatfield, Trenton Flowers, Dennis Evans.
Get visits, you get commits. That's the only way to do it. I don't. Let's see. Couch House says we actually just got offered a linebacker from Jackson State, teammate of Kevin Coleman. Okay, good.
Who just finished an OV at UK.
Really?
Well,
surely we get him over those.
Speaking of UK, I'm really glad that Beanie Bishop didn't go there. At least I will just say that. So, I think that's going to be a big emphasis of Brohm and this staff is making sure that all the in-state kids know where they need to be going again, and that's U of L. So,
this linebacker kid would have 2 years.
That's good. Normally I would scoff at a Jackson State, but the amount of talent that Dion and them were able to get down there in a very short amount of time, they clearly can assess football talent. They know what they're looking for, and they seem to be able to get. They knew how to put guys into a position to where they would excel, and they also knew how to get guys to be able to play for them. So those are guys that they had players that knew how to be coached as well. So I would be all about getting that kid, and I don't know a single thing about him, just to be honest.
He's a linebacker and has 2 years to play. That's all we need to know.
Yeah.
Does he have what other offers does he have? That's all we need to know. We're recruiting guys, man. He can't just go off that guard.
He was just on an OV to UK, so he just got a SEC.
Well, that doesn't tell me they stink just because they've been beating us lately. That just means we've stunk worse. I don't care about UK. I'm sorry. I don't care that they beat us 3 or 4 times. Satterfield was like submissive to him, like, oh, gee golly, Mark, I don't want to offend you at all. You let me know if I need to tone it down. That's what he did. I mean, look at last year's game. I'm about to go on a rant. Like, we were running all over them, and he was like, oh, golly shucks, Mark, let me stop running the ball on you and throw a couple of wiffle ball passes out there, and, they'll be 10 yards short, and then you guys beat us by, like, your typical 20 or 30 points. And so, UK sucks is my point. I'll look at you guys now. Any UK fans on here, your football team still sucks. We've sucked worse. That's about the end. So a guy going to UK on an official visit, don't care. You suck.
Scott Satterfield was George McFly, and now we have the son.
Yeah. Don't get twisted.
We have the son, Jeff Brohm,
UK has
a.k.a.
basketball.
Marty McFly. And Marty McFly will punch Biff square in the effing face. Yeah. And that's what Jeff's going to do.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, we hired a dud as far as rivalries go. I don't think that's going to be a problem this time. may take us a year to get back to where we should be, but it's not going to take long. And UK, you guys have basketball. I'll give you that. Even when we're doing really well, you have basketball. But when we're doing well in football, you do not have that, and you do not get that. So enjoy your little respite from the rivalry that you've had.
Wasn't Sat's first game against UK when he bitched about the L's down stuff?
Yeah. So that's when you knew. You were like, well, this dude's never
dude
been a
doesn't get
rivalry in
it.
his life. The biggest rivalry he has is with the Cracker Barrel waitresses when they don't bring out his biscuits in time and they're not hot enough. Like, seriously?
I asked for strawberry jelly, dang it.
Yeah.
Not great.
That's a rivalry.
I asked for strawberry, dadgummit.
Yeah, things are about to change with that. It may not happen this year, but it may. It may. We get them at home, don't we?
Yep.
It may.
Dude, it's gonna be so live in there.
They don't have that
everybody knows
on the sidelines anymore, so they got to figure out who their quarterback is.
Both fan bases feel it. That you can tell that there's a precipice here, and you know it's there for the taking right now, and they know there's a chance that, and I just think the timing lines up too. Okay, like I agree that Barnhart did a good job. I hate that we're even talking about UK, but I just do it real quick. Barnhart did a good job. In the end, he proved to be right that keeping Stoops around longer ended up being a good thing because it gave their program stability, which allowed them to take their program to a height that they've never even had in football. Okay. But that was
winning 7 games.
Yeah, he still sucked.
I mean, but that was also at the expense of us falling.
Right.
You know, it was all really good timing. Now you've got Stoops that's kind of been there a while, and yes, he's established. You've got all this new juice coming back into Louisville, and we're reaching deep down into our loins again, and and we're just we're feeling we got our testosterone back, like we've got everything.
Look, all we had to do to win last year was keep running the football. That's it. We win that game. They could not stop us, and we just quit doing it. So it's like I can't even yeah, you guys won. Congratulations. Literally because we had an idiot on offense that didn't know. I'm sorry. I'm not even trying to be. I mean, football-wise, you may be a good person. I don't know. I don't care.
He's not.
It was an idiotic. It was an idiotically coached game, just like most of all the games in the rivalry. But that one was, to me, worse than the blowouts even because it was there. At least the blowouts, it was like from the moment that the game started, like we weren't ready. And that's bad. But this game, our guys we had a good plan, it was coming together, and then Sat just freaking crapped his pants in a rivalry like he always does and just decided to go away from the one thing on offense that was working. They could not stop Jawar Jordan. And I'll never understand it.
Just like when they couldn't stop Javian Hawkins either.
No, and it's like that's not going to happen to Brohm. I hope to God not. I don't think it will. I think if something's working, he's going to keep going to it, and if something's not working, he's going to make adjustments.
Well, I mean, to me, if Brohm has one thing as a feather in his cap over Sat, it's that he's always showed, no matter where he was, he understands the intensity and the importance of a rivalry. And more importantly, he wins those games. His record in rivalry games, I think, is very good. So, and yeah, I don't know who Western's rival was per se, but when he was at Purdue, he was beating Indiana, and Indiana was that's probably some of the best. That's probably some of the best teams that Indiana's had in a really long time.
And that's why they tried to back out of our series, because they knew Brohm was going to come up there and whip them.
Well, yeah, and they stink now. Ross seemed like a fun guy. I want to golf Saturday.
Yeah, let's do it, man. We need a fourth. We need a fourth on Saturday.
U of L's win streak starts this year.
That's Kenny. I'm sure Kenny will.
A folding chair pregame.
Hey, Kenny's busy.
With what?
Cut it out. Kenny's busy. He's got to get some visits.
All right. Well, I think, it's getting kind of late, fellas. Do you guys have anything else you all want to talk about, or
According to
we'll
No.
wrap this up?
Trevor, JUCO Jordan and Dennis Evans have signed their NLIs, and their post is coming out tomorrow.
Okay.
Okay. I can't wait to see their skateboard videos.
Did he sign it, JUCO Jordan? Did he put the Jumpman logo on there?
I want to see a 7'1" guy on a skateboard. By God.
I want to see a 7'1" point guard. I think we're going to get our wish. Anyway, all right. I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up. Any final words, Ross?
No, man. I'm keeping it optimistic. Let's get some visits. We just got to get some visits from the football. I mean, not the football, the basketball staff. Let's get some visits, get some guys in here, and let's give ourselves a chance. Okay, like you got to get the visits lined up, and I'll feel a lot better. To me, that would be improvement in itself, and a maturation process from the staff. So
cool. All right, Connor, you got any last words?
Portal opens Saturday. We'll see who's leaving. They have 15 days. So that gives them what the spring game's on the 21st. That gives them 9 days to make the decision after the spring game.
Cool.
There you go.
We will see what happens.
Hey, shout out to U of L 248. DM me or message me on Twitter at Ross Pro, ROSSPRO, about Tanglewood. We might be playing there Saturday, actually. So message me on Twitter at Ross Pro. We can talk about it.
There you go. My final words are land some visits, Kenny. We need more visits. That's it, man. We just need some more portal visits.
So we're gonna be good, guys. I mean, we're gonna, we'll be back next week. We're gonna be good though. I'm gonna stay optimistic for right now until we have no reason like the summer came last year. Then we can worry. But until then, let's be fair. Since we're on it, we're getting out of here. Had a horrible tragedy this week in Louisville.
Mm-hmm.
What happened at Old National Bank? None of us should have to live through these, even one. My heart goes out to all the victims, their families, their friends that lost their lives in such a heinous act. It's an unthinkable act. I'm a big proponent of mental illness and people getting help for mental illness. I won't ever shy away from that. I am one that I am that hits very close to home. So I don't excuse the act from the suspect at all. But I do feel extremely bad that somehow in some way society has maybe failed that young man. And I feel extremely bad. And it's oftentimes easy to forget that those suspects have family too. They are also victims in this. And if you heard that 911 call today that was released from the public to the public from his mother, as a parent myself, I could not imagine. My heart goes out to his parents and his family.
Yeah.
Just awful. And, I hope that some sort of change comes.
Yeah.
And
the piggyback
we can just,
on
we need things to change. So let's just pull together and everybody just be nice to one another and try to be empathic and try to have some empathy and compassion for people. And I really think that could go a long way.
Yeah.
So.
To piggyback on that, the parents, I'm already seeing a lot of hate towards his parents' comments about the situation, and all I'll say is mental health is my background. It's my educational background. It's my career. You don't always know the whole picture, and you don't know that the parents didn't do things. I've seen a lot of things directed at those parents that they weren't there and it's their fault. You don't know that. So mental health is very complex, multi-layered, and there's a lot more to it than what you see at the surface. Obviously, what happened is a tragedy, and it's something that'll be looked into for a long time as far as what the potential triggers could have been. But it's a tragedy, and we all just need to come together and not. Sometimes that pointing the finger pointing starts right off the bat, and it's like I get it. It's a fear-based reaction, but we need to come together. It's the only way you're going to get past these things is openly discuss them, come together, and look at positive ways to grow, especially with mental health. So it's a tragedy. It's happening across the country way too much. One time's too many, but the amount that it's happening lately, it's a major problem, and we all need to come together. And it's not as simple as a blanket solution. So it's a multi-layered unit or multi-variables that are contributing to this. And the only way we're going to be able to move beyond this and grow is to address all of them, be open-minded. So with that being said, not going to take any more of y'all's time. We'll see y'all next week, probably Wednesday at 9:00. That's typically when we try to do it. So if everybody else is good, we're going to end this, and I'll end it with a go Cards.
Make sure to like, subscribe, share, do whatever.
There you go.
Yeah.
Peace, love, and go Cards. Peace, love, go Cards.
On that way every Wednesday at 9, you're ready to roll with us. All right. Thank you all for listening. It'll be available on Spotify, on Google, on Apple, and all that probably sometime tomorrow. All right. I'm signing out. Goodbye and good night. Go Cards.